Rifle scope technology goes back to Payne Stewart, and he was the first to really put it in play on the tour. It was almost immediately after the concept had been invented, the red dot, the two white lines in the back heel of the putter. We call it rifle scope technology because you then use the bottom portion of the shaft to create a trapping where the bottom portion of the shaft, about 3-4 inches up, will trap the red dot, and you'll be left seeing the two white lines, and you won't be seeing the red dot. And when that happens, you know that the putter face is lined up square. It's not open, it's not closed. And beyond that, the Seemore Putter, in simple terms, will allow any golfer to develop what is pretty close to a true tour-type putting stroke just by practicing.
Golf Smarter number 720. Drop 3 putts and more per round with complete confidence using Seemore Putter's rifle scope technology.
This is Golf Smarter, sharing stories, tips, and insights from great golf minds to help you lower your score and raise your golf IQ. Here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome back to the Golf Smarter podcast, Jim.
Hello, Fred.
How have you been, buddy?
I've been good. How have you been?
Well, you know, my voice is coming back. I've struggled a little bit here, but it's bronchitis and not pneumonia, thank goodness.
Oh, thank gosh.
Yeah, right. It was kind of scary there for a minute, but just a lingering cough that zapped my energy and kept me away from the golf course, which I hate. But enough of that. Just great to have you back on the show. And I just want to start by thanking you once again for being so generous for giving away Seemore putters on Golf Smarter all through the year. I've just loved doing it because it's a product that I'm a huge fan of.
Well, you're welcome. And certainly we love to participate. And I think with us, giveaways, obviously we're exposing our brand to a lot of very serious fanatic type golfers, many of whom haven't really been familiar with Seemore putters. So, when they do get a chance to, for those lucky few who win, put it in play, we really do believe that every Seemore putter out there sells more Seemore putters to playing partners and competitors and family and what have. So, and for those who don't win, hopefully they get enough information from us in these podcasts that they'll be curious enough to check us out.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I am such an ambassador when I'm out on the course, when people are like, what is that thing on your putter? Why do you have that? So it's so much fun to explain because the aha moment that happens every time somebody puts it in their hand is so cool how people react. Explain to us, please, rifle scope technology. The superpower of Seemore putters is rifle scope technology.
It is. And rifle scope technology goes back 20 years now, back to Payne Stewart. And he was the first to really put it in play on the tour. It was almost immediately after the putter concept had been invented, the red dot, the two white lines in the back heel of the putter. And it serves, we call it rifle scope technology because you then use the bottom portion of the shaft to create a trapping where the bottom portion of the shaft, about 3-4 inches up, will trap the red dot, and you'll be left seeing the two white lines, and you won't be seeing the red dot. And when that happens, you know that the putter face is lined up square. It's not open, it's not closed, and you also know that your loft is set pretty much at a controlled loft of 2.5 degrees. That's our default loft. And when that happens, you've just taken two huge variables out of play that allow golfers to feel much more comfortable in their setup. It actually helps their posture. And beyond that, the superpowers go to even the stroke. We've said from day one, if you actually set aside and practiced hiding the red dot at all points during your stroke to groove the perfect stroke, you'll have a tour-like stroke. And that means the putter will it will stay on a natural slight arc plane, in which the putter face is square to that plane at all times. Yes, the putter will come up slightly and it'll come to the inside and then open slightly, but it's actually staying on the plane. So there's no manipulation. It's not opening or shutting. It's just that since we're standing to the side of the ball, when you actually have a putter staying in a fixed position and rotating on that plane, this is the motion it will be. So the Seemore Putter, in simple terms, will allow any golfer to develop what is pretty close to a true tour-type putting stroke just by practicing.
You said that the person becomes more comfortable. And I was really waiting for you to say more confident.
More confident.
That's what I've
sure.
experienced.
More
Definitely more
sure.
comfortable, but the confidence level, knowing that, okay, I've got my line ready to go. It's one less thing to think about.
No question about it. And, the sports psychologists that we work with say that, yes, once they know they're set up correctly and once they know they've eliminated those variables, then the confidence comes in. The fact that they can now focus on the line and the speed of that putt without really worrying about their stroke any longer. So it does allow them to take a far more confident stroke, doubt brings in all types of things that, even the best intentions can't keep away. So we do believe that without those doubts, the golfer now is in a much better position to make a lot more putts.
Yeah, no question about it. And I want to flush that out a little bit, the lack of thinking, because there's so many things that are going through our mind before we get ready to putt, whether we're lining up the putt, we're thinking about the line, we're thinking about hitting a mark, we're thinking about, the stroke, whether if you struggle like I do sometimes with pulling with my right arm, pulling back versus just letting my left arm guide this thing, just all these different things to think about. But with rifle scope, it's almost as if it's a simple visual that says you're offline. Stop thinking about it. You're a little bit offline. Get back online, and it just right.
It's funny that you mentioned that, and we have had over the years just tremendous tour success. But a guy that we just talked to a few weeks ago about sort of his take on our technology is Brant Jobe, who's had a lot of success on the Champions Tour. Since his time out there, I believe he's participated in about 85 events, and his average earnings per event is $50,000. So we talked to Brant Jobe. He won again this year. He beat Fred Couples, in his home state up at the Bowen Classic, and really blew by him with I think it was a 9 under 63 in the final round, and to win his second event on the Champions Tour. And we talked to him because he's done that all with the Seemore Putter, and he just discovered it very recently before putting it in play. He played 400 events on the PGA Tour and the all the other tours, without ever really being aware of Seemore. And so he's a funny guy because he kind of had that aha moment, and he has parlayed that, he says, into the best golf of his life. But it was interesting because he also said, hey, don't get me wrong. He said, myself and most of my friends on tour still struggle every single day with some of the same things that the Seemore Putter addresses, which is, how's my setup? Have I changed something since yesterday? Have I, what's going on, with these, voices in my head that's led me to come off track? And he said, really, the Seemore Putter, what it allows him to do is very quickly realize that he has come off track and needs to get back on track. And it gives him a feeling of sort of peace and comfort, and then back to confidence. So, but he said it wasn't just a one-time solution. He said he uses this putter to constantly help himself get back to where he believes he now is set up for the best putting of his life.
You mentioned a few minutes ago, sports psychologists. Do you guys work with sports psychologists at your putter company to help you finalize your products?
Well, we have a very close friend, who is one of the renowned sports psychologists, Dr. Bob Winters, and who's
been on Golf Smarter many times.
Fantastic guy. So, he's a great resource for a lot of us, but it's a lot of fun to be able to discuss sort of the theories and the concepts of our physical putter and putting system with some of his, really, really advanced feelings about what can bring a golfer confidence and what can bring a golfer sort of the peace of mind that they need to get into that zone. And yes, so we talk with him very, very frequently. He is a huge fan of having this system be there so that his players can then sort of eliminate the noise that so often gets in the way of great performance and focus on the things that are the most important.
We're going to take a quick time out, and come back. I wanted to, you mentioned, we talked to Brant Jobe, we talked to Robert Winters, and that's because you guys have a podcast that I want to talk about with you right after we come back.
That sounds great.
So your conversation with Brant Jobe was actually, wasn't it episode 21 of the Putting Couch podcast?
I believe it was episode 20, but it could have been 20? Episode 21. Absolutely. And we've received a lot of great feedback on that, just because, Brant Jobe is one of those guys that may not be a household name, but anybody that follows the Champions Tour, he's finished in the top 20 3 of the last 4 years, or it might have been all 4 years. And just such a delightful guy. And to listen to him talk about his sort of route to the Champions Tour was a lot of fun on that podcast. And, it's fantastic. We've really enjoyed the opportunity to talk to so many newsmakers, as well as to sort of bring back some of the things that we're hearing in our daily, journey on the tours and with our customers and what have you. So who would have thought, a podcast all about putting and just about putting, but at this point in time, we don't really feel like we're running out of ideas, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Who would have thought about podcasts about golf, period? It's just, there's a room for everybody here. I love this. And I've really been enjoying what you guys are doing. Give me a little better background. Explain to people what the Putting Couch is. I always want, I still want to call it the Putting Coach. The Putting Couch. What's the basis of it, and how you guys got started, and how it's developing for 2020?
Well, I think podcasts, you and I, we have appreciated being part of your podcast. And I think when I realized that even my kids were starting to listen to podcasts, over so many other mediums, and, in their college age and post-college. And I realized the way they've organized their information and their media. And so it just came down to, we have every single day a lot of insights into the putting part of this golf business. And, since that's all we do, and a lot of the competitive brands that are out there are really, they're roll up product lines under huge companies that make all types of products. And we've been doing nothing but putters for 20 years, which I just kind of felt like we ought to take a step forward and just start to record some of our experiences and some of the great moments that we've had, as well as open a dialogue. And so, we came up with the Putting Couch. It does sort of lend itself to a double meaning. We're trying to coach on the couch. We're trying to get people in a comfortable position, whether they're in their car or they're on the couch. And, there's also the term of, we know that putting is like all golf is at least 50% mental. And most people believe more than that. And so the couch is just sort of a fun way to infer, that when it comes to putting here, we've got you covered. And we even do bring in a sports psychologist, so you can lay on that couch and you can tell us about your, or you can think about all the struggles that you have. Putting is the part of the game that I think so many people feel like it should be easier. It's because it doesn't really require the physical prowess that compressing a golf ball does. But there's so many new variables that are brought into play, and golfers, even at the highest level, it's the part of the game that it makes them crazy. And so for some reason, average golfers, I don't want to say they're content, but we believe that for too long now, they're just satisfied to sit back and really sort of accept their current putting as sort of what it is. And we think it can be better. We think that golfers, they have at their disposal ways to improve their putting through product, through lessons and instruction, through mental coaching, through fitting. And so the rest of the game has gone that direction. And now we want to make sure that the putting area is brought along. So that's kind of how we see our role in this.
What are the things that you feel like you've taken away after 20 episodes that were kind of aha moments for you guys?
Well, people actually, a lot of our
and it's not just you on the couch. I'm sorry.
No. It's myself. It's Ted Galena, who has been a tour rep for us for years. Cody Hale, who is kind of our current active director of our tour operations and our fitting and our instruction and our training. And so,
yeah, Golf Smarter listeners are familiar with Cody.
Yeah, so they've heard about Cody, and then we reach back into sort of our short list of people that are very, very important to our team that aren't necessarily here in our company, and so we decided that we would sort of be on a rotation where every 4 or 5 episodes we would talk to our good friend Pat O'Brien, sort of our global ambassador of instruction, the man that that sort of took the concept from Payne Stewart and brought it to Zach Johnson and has been there every step of the way. So some of our episodes are going to be actually Pat O'Brien on instruction. And, we thought that would be maybe a little too technical and complex for a podcast, but we've gotten rave reviews there. We do the same thing with Dr. Bob Winters. Every 4 or 5 episodes, we're going to talk about something as it pertains to the mental part of the game. And I think those really fascinate people because a guy like Dr. Bob Winters is able to bring such enlightenment to the game and help us understand what makes this game so challenging, what makes putting so challenging, and how we can actually help golfers improve just by understanding that there are different approaches to the game and different things that they can even mentally prepare and practice for. So we do the instruction part through Pat O'Brien, the mental game through Dr. Bob Winters. We do cool interviews with tour winners or caddies that have been a part of special moments. And, in that series, we've talked to Damon Green. He's given us insights about what it was like to caddy for Zach Johnson during some of the major wins. Mike Hicks with the same sort of approach, the inside story of the 1999 U.S. Open at Pinehurst, how they prepared for that tournament, what happened every single day on his way to that great victory. So really, really cool stuff. We've talked to many tour players and European tour players, and in the case of Brant Jobe, champion tour players who have won tour events using Seemore putters. And we don't just obviously talk about Seemore. Seemore might come up, and of course it's always going to be 5 minutes of the podcast. Hey, tell us about this experience. But we really want listeners to also get to know players that they probably don't know much about. We talked to Steve Tiley after he won a challenge event on the European Challenge Tour. And it was fascinating to have him talk about the mental barriers and pressures that just came upon him when he was trying to win his first tour event in over 10 years, and how what had seemed so easy the day before, under final round pressure started to change, and some of the thoughts that he had and where his mind was wandering. And it was fascinating. And I think golfers, we want to put out stories out there that golfers everywhere would say, wow, that was really cool. I can't believe, I took for granted how good these guys were. And I never really thought about the fact that they're having the same exact struggles. They're just probably better prepared for them than most of us. But the same negative thoughts creep into their minds. And so it's really cool stuff there. We so instruction, the mental game, insights and interviews, and then I think Ted, Cody, myself, every once in a while, we like to just kick around what we've just learned or brought back from the tour in terms of product trends, fitting, what we see going on. So, and then I think the fifth part of it, which we haven't really gotten into, but in 2020 we want to get into, is provide a platform on the putting couch for our global network of Seemore certified instructors. So where they can tell their story and they can kind of tell us about how they've applied their putting certifications and insights and expertises to helping their customers, whether they're junior golfers or club players or, aspiring college players. So far, that's one way we kind of keep it really fresh and interesting, is there's a rotation of about 5 or 6 possible different routes that we take.
Interesting. How much presence does Seemore have to have at every tour stop, not just tour, the PGA, the champions, the minor league tours, the college routes? How much physical presence do you have to get in front of these golfers? How do you do that? How do you let them know you exist?
That's a great question. And I think as we go into 2020, we'd like to reconnect with some of the college coaches and the college teams. We don't really, at our size, we haven't really penetrated those inroads. And yet, when we do talk to college coaches, they're all very, very interested. And so we haven't done as good of a job as we could have with reaching out to the college coaches and letting them know how we can help them. So that's going to be new territory for us. I would say, with the mini tours, we don't really go out and visit many of those events either. It's a lot of times it'll be word of mouth. Somebody will, know about us, hear about us from somebody, and then they'll come and see us here at our headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee. It's a bit of a crossroads from north to south and east to west in the eastern part of the United States. A lot of roads do sort of lead through Nashville. So over time, we've been fortunate enough to host a lot of players, and then the word of mouth might get out there. So that's generally the way we'll serve those tours.
Well, as much as, it's not supposed to be a commercial for Seemore Putter. It's just supposed to be, I'm here to brag about Seemore Putters more than anything else. But we do have to take another stop for this advertiser. Jim, I'm going to go a little bit off topic here,
Sure,
just for a moment.
Okay.
And ask how your family celebrates the holidays. You excited about it coming up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got my two oldest sons have both been married in the last couple of years.
Congratulations.
One lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and the other one is in Atlanta. So we're going to see everybody. We're going to have my 4 kids and 2 spouses under our roof for, it looks like only about 2 days, but that will be a lot of fun. So, we will, so we celebrate Christmas. So they'll be coming in 23rd. I mean, my one son is learning what it's like to be the low man on the totem pole with the business. So he couldn't even get off Monday. So he's got Saturday and Sunday, and then he's got to work on Monday, and then he's coming out here Tuesday and Wednesday. So my other son has a lot more flexibility, but he having just gotten married, he's got some different routes to run on. So we'll see them for 3 or 4 days, and then my daughter comes back from college Wednesday. She's a senior, and at Temple University, and she's coming back, and she'll be here. 3 weeks or something like that, and then I've got a junior in high school, so he's.
Oh my gosh!
Normally it's the 3. It's my wife and I and him now. So, and our 2 dogs and our 2 cats. So yeah.
Well, have a happy holidays to your entire clan. Wow, that's a big group.
Yeah,
and getting bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're going to be empty nest really soon, though, right?
It's coming
up.
Are
you looking forward to empty nest?
It's coming up, and so
empty nest is great.
Yeah, empty nest. It's possible we could have I have a feeling my daughter may re-enter the nest for just a short period of time. She's worked her butt off, and I think she wants to go to law school, and I think she may be hanging with us a little bit. So, although actually that would be at the same time as my son is a senior in high school, so I guess we would go from 1 back to 2 for a little while. So, and then the empty nest.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh my! Well, let's get on to 2020. What do you guys have planned for the merchandise show, the PGA merchandise show this January?
We actually have something really, really cool, and we've constantly innovated and introduced beautiful products. And one of our most recent innovations in the last few years were the mini giant deep flange, which are sort of our most forgiving and we think most perfectly designed putters in terms of the full Seemore straight shaft system. And our fitters and our instructors, their aha moment a lot of times is not just in what hiding the red dot part of rifle scope technology can do, but the balance of so many of our sort of blade putters and small mallet putters that they actually are also designed so that if you just sort of step back and just sort of let them swing without applying any manipulation, the red dot would actually be reinforced in terms of being hidden at all times. So we call that face balanced at impact. It's one of our deeper level technologies that all the instructors jump on. So that's very, very cool. But the one thing that has always sort of gotten in the way with us and so many of the golfers out there is right off the bat, they see that our line is heavy and straight shaft putters, and they tell us they've always putted with some sort of an offset, typically a lot of times a plumber's neck design. And we've been trying to adapt our rifle scope technology to the offset putter. We've had a very nice adaptation, which is won numerous times on tour, with an offset double bend shaft. We internally kind of call it the whistle shaft, which is just a fun little way to talk about our first foray into offset. But we actually have, after months and months and months of crazy, prototypes and designs, finally come up with a new aha moment, which is a way to apply a plumber's neck and still take full advantage of Seemore's rifle scope technology. So that is going to be our story at the 2020 show, because a lot of fitters, a lot of instructors, a lot of top players, while they see other golfers having tremendous success with Seemore putters, while they buy into everything about having a system and they love it, they say they just wish they could just get their hands just slightly forward, okay? And that's been a challenge for us. And what we have come up with is really cool. When you set it down, it kind of looks and feels like a classic plumber's neck design, or plumber neck design. And yet the neck itself is in line with the shaft, and it's a one plane. So when you actually inspect it closely, you'll see it's a Seemore plumber neck, and it's very, very different. And it allows the golf club to swing, while not exactly like our straight shaft putters, much more similarly. And we believe with the entry point of the hosel closer to the center of the putter head, that there's more stability, there's better feel, there's better balance. And so the feedback's been fantastic from the insiders that have seen it and tried it. And so we'll officially show that to the world, I guess, at the PGA Merchandise Show.
Oh, well, good luck. Good luck. I hope it works. It makes me think that so many golfers, they're like, no, I'm not used to a center shafted putter. No, I don't like the straight. I've been doing it this way most of my life. And then you say to them, so how's your putting?
Right.
Well, 37, 39 putts around. It's like, well, then why wouldn't you be willing to try something different? If
No
it's going to
question.
cut 3 or 4 putts, if it only cuts 3 or 4 putts around off of your game, isn't that worth it? How do you compete with those big advertising budgets and stay solvent, stay a viable company?
Yeah, no, we agree, and it is tough. I mean, the big guys, have clearly in the last couple of years, I guess, with maybe driver technology, maybe not plateauing, but becoming more of an equal playing field where, everybody seems to have created fantastic designs that sort of take it right up to the limit. I know a lot of the big companies have realized that, hey, maybe the putter is the next frontier. So 2019 and 2018 have been years where the putter category now has more money being spent in it, in advertising, in marketing, in paying tour players. So much more difficult for a small brand like ours to compete against that, even though our marketing message, whatever we had before, was really tough to get out. I mean, it is bombarded right now, but we still believe that somehow a brand with the technology that's as unique and different and authentic and proven as ours has a place out there. So we're kind of calling on all friends and family and instructors who believe in
podcasters.
Podcasters, exactly. Thank you very much, Fred. You're exactly right. So we really, really appreciate the friendship we have, and we appreciate your friendship, and just, again, we think golfers should have a choice. We love it if they have a choice of something that's maybe authentic and might be better for them than something that's just slammed in terms of advertising. Because let's face it, you and I you can pay the top 10 players in the world to use just about anything because they're masters at manipulation. They can manipulate anything. And a lot of them, they have these superpowers in the ability to hit a golf ball long and straight and wedge it close. And, even when it comes to the putter, I'm not saying they don't all believe that the putter they're using is the best for them, but, their world is insulated by a sponsorship. And so what their choices are amongst, products that they're being sponsored on. So, when we get a chance to talk to players, oftentimes it will result even at that level in an aha moment. So that's the opportunity that we have. That's what little brands do, is they try and find their footing as, hey, there are other companies out there that now, the latest marketing message from one of our competitors is, hey, it's not just a putter, but it'll actually help you build a better stroke. Well, we've sort of been doing that for 20 years with rifle scope technology. You hide the red dot. You're actually going to have a putter that works with you to build a much better stroke and foundation for your game. And so we've been doing that for years. And so we just have to figure out a way to draft off of those messages out there. Another huge competitor last year came out with a sort of a bit of a copycat product to ours. It wasn't a great adaptation, but it was very interesting in that their identification of the problem. Hey, the biggest issue with putting is most golfers don't know how to aim. They have alignment issues. Okay. Again, we pride ourselves in having a system that helps golfers right up front set up the best alignment possible. So we just have to fight a whole lot harder, and it's going to be tough. There are always going to be golfers that are going to be influenced by marketing and want to use what the tour players are playing. So hey, that's something that we have to deal with. But
you've had luck with that too.
We've even had luck with that.
With having tour players.
Yeah. So having you mentioned the little tours, the mini tours, the challenge tours. I mean the LPGA. We get great feedback. So without a whole lot of support, I mean, these other companies have trucks out there. They have 1, 2, even 3 reps out there every single week. We can't do that. So I think to complete a question that you answered earlier, how much support can you give the tours? It's not a lot, but it's what we can afford to give. And we go out there and we just try and stay in front of them every once in a while. And then a lot of times at the year end, we'll get 2, 3 guys out of the blue, names that everybody's heard of, giving us a call. Hey, as I head into next season, man, I'd like to at least practice with the Seemore putter. I know everything about how the benefits work, and I need those. And so whether they end up putting it in play, whether it fits in with their other sponsorships, it's really cool when we get phone calls on our main line from PGA Tour players who want us to send them a putter so they can practice with it.
Wow, great. So here's your last opportunity to explain to the Golf Smarter community what it is that they could win on the next episode when we draw their name on getting a part of the a customized from the classic series Seemore Putter. How can we get them excited about signing up to win one of these?
That'd be great. Yeah, I think let's do it on this next one. Let's expand that. I mean, if somebody wants one of the mini giants, I would say let's include that because we believe that's kind of what most of us in the office have been using, a mini giant or a mini giant deep flange. A super cool product, a lot more expensive, 100% milled, but I'll throw that one in there. And we will introduce the new Seemore hosel, the Seemore plumber neck version, in a couple of our Classic Series putters as well. So if the winner decides that that's something they want to try, okay, that will sort of be known to the universe in the next couple weeks through some teases. I think we've even sent a few teases out there, and we'll throw that in as well. So
wow,
yeah, let's be one of the first to get something really, really cool or something really, really great. So, and again, all of our Classic Series putters are phenomenal. I think our price points really don't line up with what you can expect in terms of performance. It really has more to do with the way the putters are manufactured and, where the absolute most expensive putters are 100% milled because of the material costs and the way that we cut them. All of our putters have precision where you need it, which is precision milled face and precision rifle scope technology. So any one of our Classic Series putters is still phenomenal. We have so many players at all levels that will never really opt for 100% milled putter. But for some golfers, that 100% milled is sort of their nirvana out there, where the feel, the look, the consistency, the perfection is as good as it's going to get.
Wow. Well, Jim, here's to a healthy and prosperous 2020 for Seemore Putters and for you and your family. Thank you so much once again for your generosity and for coming on, and good luck with the podcast as well, man.
Hey, that's fantastic. Real quick, Seemore.com is where people can learn more about us. And the Putting Couch is the podcast, Fred. And again, when it comes to just putting, that's who we are. So we really appreciate it. We love your friendship, and we welcome all of your listeners to reach out to us. Thanks, Fred.
Well, you heard it for the first time, just as I did. If your name is selected next episode to be our final 2019 prize winner, you're going to have to make a decision on how to customize your brand new Seemore putter. Whether you select from their latest Mini Giant series or the Classic series, once you start using rifle scope technology, you'll completely and instantly understand how this simple built-in tool will make you a better, more confident putter. Speaking from experience, folks. Please check them out at Seemore, Seemore, Seemore.com. Then head over to golfsmarter.com and click on the giveaway banner at the top of the homepage. The winner will be announced on our next episode. Deadline to enter is Sunday, December 22nd, 2019, midnight Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern. This week on Golf Smarter Mulligans, slight change in previously mentioned scheduling, which is why I don't always like to talk about what's coming up, but hey, stuff happens. Anyway, our guest is Michael Anthony. He's an author and coach of the Mental Keys system. Michael's experience includes thousands of golfers, and he's also worked with elite Olympic athletes who have gone on to win silver and gold medals. Yes, they have mental issues about winning too. The episode, called Using Mental Keys to Control Anxiety and or Fear on the Golf Course, will be available this Friday wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Golf Smarter Mulligans is brought to you by twoguyswithgolfballs.com. Now, next week, as promised, we'll feature a new and a classic episode, both with Pia Nilsson, on Golf Smarter number 721 and Golf Smarter Mulligans number 36. If you'd like to stay in touch, and I would love for you to stay in touch with Golf Smarter in between listening to new and classic content, follow us at Golf Smarter on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for me, you can use those formats or click on the Hey Fred button at golfsmarter.com.